Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey there, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio. This is the finest Bible bistro on the internet. We're studying the Psalms verse by verse, 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Right here, just come on in, have a seat. We're getting ready to open the Bible up here and look at Psalm 3. We've been studying Psalm 3 this week. Psalm 3 is a unique psalm. Since we've started over again, Psalm 3 presents us with something interesting, and that is the very first of the opening statements, the sort of descriptive statements that we have in the Psalter. Sometimes you'll have in verse 1, it'll give attribution to an author, or perhaps it'll tell a little bit about the situation behind the writing of the psalm, and that's the case in this one. This is a psalm of David when he fled from before Absalom, his son. So it sets it in a historic setting for us. 2 Samuel, in the 15th through the 20th chapters, we have the story of Absalom and his rebellion. And today we're looking at verses 4 and 5. David wrote this then. This little piece at the beginning in verse 1 sort of sets the stage for us for other introductions, or what I used to call superscripts. I'm going to try to get away from calling it that from now on. But these introductions that are given to the Psalms. This is a psalm of David, and as I said, the very first time we've had any attribution, we have it of David. And as a matter of fact, this is the first in what's called the Davidic Psalter. There are 73 psalms that contain David's name. So almost half, not quite half, but almost half of the entire book of Psalms is attributed to David. Of course, that's why we know him as the sweet psalmist of Israel, and that's why the Bible calls him that, because we have so much of his material here in the Psalms. Okay, look at 4 and 5 with me, if you will. You'll find this translation at my-dailydose.com. You can check it out there, but I'll read today my translation of verses 4 and 5. I will call out to the Lord with my voice, and he will answer me from his holy mountain. I will lay down, and I will sleep. I will awaken, for the Lord upholds me. And that's so good. Oh, thank you, Lord, for these verses. I will call out to the Lord with my voice. Now look, whether you have a voice, and you can tell, I don't know if you can tell, but my voice it feels strained, and it probably sounds strained right now. Probably not the best time to be podcasting, actually, but we'll plow through here. I will call out to the Lord with my voice. Even if you don't have a voice, you have a voice on the inside. So whether it's your inside voice or your outside voice, it's time. Call out to the Lord. Do you have to wait until Absalom's pursuing you, David? Do you have to wait that long? Do you have to wait until you're in trouble? Do you really? Do you have to wait until you sin? Do you have to wait? Why can't you just call out to the Lord right now? Call out to him in the good moment. Don't let that pass without giving thanks. Call out to the Lord. He'll hear your voice, whether it's your inside voice or your outside voice, and he'll answer you. And notice where he's answering from, his holy mountain. Now look back in Psalm 2, verse 6. We're talking about the holy place that God has put his Messiah. Now we find it over here in verse 4 of Psalm 3. We have these connections, and I've mentioned them before. We'll see them again as we go through the Psalms a second time now. We're going to see these connections from psalm to psalm. Sometimes it's words, sometimes it's ideas or phrases that are used, but they make a connection between one another, which actually shows the brilliance of the way they've been constructed. Verse 5, notice the setup here, or the progression here, rather. I will lay down, and I will sleep. I will awaken. Isn't that exactly what we do? But do you do that when Absalom's pursuing you? See, David is putting his trust in the Lord, and he's trusting so much that he says, I'm going to lay down, I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm going to get up. Why? Because it's the Lord who upholds me. Go right back to verse 3. He is a shield about me. David was trusting in the Lord. The people, his adversaries, were saying, well, there's no help for him. There's no salvation in God. David is saying, the Lord is my shield all around me. He answers my prayer, and he keeps me when I sleep. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the way our good God treats us. Tomorrow we're going to look at verse 6. I hope you'll join me then on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.